Welcome to the Grr in Fangrrl podcast, a podcast where we discuss pop culture and fandom. Each episode, we talk with celebrities, fans, and creators about their work in the media that inspires them. Now here's your host, the creator of the Squee project, filmmaker, fangirl, and feminist, Hansi Oppenheimer.
Hey, it's Hansi, and this week I talk with horror legend Debbie Rochon. Her work has spanned every aspect of the genre, from acting and directing to writing and hosting radio shows. She's respected for her considerable contribution working with Joe Bob Briggs, Trauma, Fangoria, and is currently writing a book about her experiences on the street as a teen. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I hope you do too. Here we go.
Hansi, how are you?
Yeah, hey, we get it together, yay!
Yay, we did it. We did it. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for being so understanding.
Oh, no, I totally get it. You have a extremely busy career. I appreciate you taking the time. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing definitely better today for sure. So that's a good thing. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm good. And, I'm like you. I juggle all this stuff, but independent. So
yes,
yeah.
I totally get it. I totally get it.
Someday, I saw a YouTube interview with you. It's a recent one, and you were talking about, you're successful and you love what you do, but there's also not a lot of money to pay other people to help you to do it. So it just means you have to do everything.
Exactly. Oh, isn't that the truth? Oh, boy. I mean, really. That's the truth. That's why some stuff can take, some time because you're doing it all yourself.
Yeah. But, it's satisfying. I mean, you're doing the work you want to do, so.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's certainly true. I mean, it's nice. I have to say, it's nice to collaborate, and it's nice and gratifying being able to do it all yourself. So it's sort of like, it's a mixed bag. It depends what you're doing. So, it's all good.
Well, you have an amazing career. I mean, because, within horror, you have done just about every kind of media, from radio to writing to acting to directing.
Yeah, I really have. It's sort of like, when I've always had interests in all of the different areas. And so when situations come up or opportunities come up, I've always just been one to dive in. I sort of fell into radio in the very beginning. It was terrestrial first, and it was at WBAI, which is a nonprofit radio station in New York City. And a friend of mine was doing a show. It was Monday nights from midnight to 3 a.m. And so I was on as a guest in the beginning, and then it just turned out that we got along very well, had good chemistry. I really liked helping him produce it and book the guests. And we would do these long, and they probably still do them to this day, long fundraisers. And we would just like pack it full of people that I knew in the horror genre or writers in the horror genre. And just, go crazy. And it was funny because we just assumed that, at that time, nobody was listening and people didn't really record shows back then. I mean, some people did, but, it was live and that was it. And then it was very funny because I was going out to Long Island for a convention during that time period. And I don't even know how it came up. The guy at the radio, the guy had WBAI on the radio on. And I just said, oh, that's interesting. You're listening to that channel. And he says, oh, you like it? And I says, oh, well, we do this little thing called, I think it was called Oblique Strategies or some crazy name like that. It was very artsy. And he says, I listen to that all the time. And, so therefore I knew that taxi drivers during that time period were listening to us. So that was very gratifying for me that, there was
if
actually
the cab drivers are listening to you, you got. But
yeah, exactly.
I actually get the reference because I was a huge Eno fan, and Oblique Strategies was his card game that would instruct you if you were stuck creatively, you would use Oblique Strategies. So yeah, old punks, right?
Thank you. Very, very rare that people get that, and that's okay if they don't. But because it's just a cool name. But yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. So yeah. And so anyway, that's how the radio just kind of fell into radio, and then we did this. I had the same co-host and co-producer, Peter Schmedig, and we did the first online radio. It was a station. There's a lot of shows on it. It was called Pseudo Radio, and that was 96. And so we did that, and then did IATA, which was sort of a big, financially big excursion into online radio in 2000, 2001, and then went to satellite, Sirius XM. So kind of played around in all the different ways that radio could be played around with. And like I say, in the beginning fell into it and just grew over the years with much love and admiration for it. And I love it to this day. It's great. And I love talk radio. Love it. Always have. All the shows I've been involved with.
Are you still doing a show right now, or?
No. Have no show right now. I mean, I really believe that there's so many great podcasts out there that, unless you really, really either have to or you have something that you really want to experiment with or, indulge in some way or get some creative deals, experience out of it, then, that's the reason to do it. And so having done it for, really intensely for 4 different periods in my life, I'd love to go back to it again. But right now there's other things pulling at me. But, I adore it and I love it. I love talking to people.
I know, it's the best, right? So, I know you did your directorial debut, in 2015. I saw Lloyd Kaufman a couple months ago, and he had mentioned you were working on something. Are you doing a documentary, or are you working on another feature, or what are you doing at the moment?
Well, Torment Road is a movie that James Morgart, who wrote Model Hunger as well, the first film that I directed, wrote an amazing screenplay, and we did a fundraiser. So fundraiser went well, but still looking for an investor. So while I'm doing that, which is, takes a lot of time and stuff, I'm still doing some film work, and I've been really intensely writing my autobiography, which I have a publishing house for. So now I actually have a deadline. So that really puts the pedal to the metal, but it's very exciting, and I could not be happier because I love who's putting it out. I love that, what I'm focusing on, even though it's really difficult material for me because it's the years that, I lived on the street and went through everything I went through, but it's intense, but it's in a really good way. Challenging, but good. Really challenging, but really intense. So I think that's what's going to make it good, is that it's not just this, believe me, there's plenty of stories. Don't get me wrong, but it's not just, I went from this movie to that movie to this movie to that movie. It's not that book. That book is my life is sort of, I can, sort of cut it up in chunks, and I kind of see if, depending on how things go and what I want to say, and as some people joke around, who's alive and all this kind of stuff. It depends. Like, that book is not this book, and maybe 1 or 2 books from now, that's that book more about the films. So I sort of see this as, it's kind of like a 1977 to 1984 book. Then there's another one that's 84 to 94 in my mind. And then there's one that's sort of like 94 and beyond. That would cover more than, say, a 10-year period. But
I gotta,
because there's... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
Kudos. That's okay. It's a little tricky on without seeing each other where you overlap. But kudos to you. I also grew up on the street, from the time I was 14 and hitchhiked cross country and all the drama and all the, crazy shit that happens when you're a kid on the street. And sharing that stuff, I know, can be extremely difficult, especially, if you're, public persona. How is that for you? I mean, is there family to worry about? Is there,
Well, no, because, both my parents passed in 97. Separately, just happened to be the same year. So, and I'm very estranged from my family. I really don't know where they are. I was put into like I became a ward of the court. So I was put in sort of like the halfway house scenario. So I'm very removed from that part of it. It's only hard in the sense that, there's only one way to do it, and that's to be ridiculously and completely honest. And that's what it is. And so it's completely scary. I mean, just to have that stuff out there, it's insanity in one way. It's sheer insanity, but it's kind of like it's just come to the point where I've always used it in my work, as whether it's an actor or whatever. But I think that even though it's served me in other disciplines, I think that it has its biggest effect in the written word, where it can just be, laid out. It's no longer using emotions and manipulating them to fit the situation, character, scene, whatever, what have you, but just like straight out, balls out, what happened. And to be really honest about that stuff, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's hard. It's really hard.
It's hard. It's really hard because, beyond the fact that you have to relive it, it's then, you have to relive it, and then, what are people going to do? And the good news is, so far, there's always going to be horrible people that are going to say horrible things, like whether it's about your art, your book, or you. And that's just the way it's going to be, so fuck 'em. I mean, I sent the first couple chapters to my last co-host, Dee Snider, and he was like so moved. He was like, if you need a foreword, boom, done.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so so that said to me, okay, I'm definitely on the right track, because if that moved someone who's very finicky in what they're involved in, like they don't want their name on anything that they don't really can get behind. It doesn't matter if it's like big or small, but it has to be something that they feel good about or strong about. And so I was like, okay, good, on the right track. Like, it was moving enough that he would do that. So, so it was really good.
It's also just like taking your power back. It's your story, and
yes.
Right? So, you have the right to tell it. Because I know even when I've told people about some of my experiences on the street as a kid, like then you have to worry about their feelings. And it's like, why am I taking care of you? This is, my experience. But, people are upset by it. But I think, writing about it is a way to get it out there and not, you're putting it out there, but you don't have to be there when they're reading it. So.
Right. And it goes both ways. I mean, you're going to hopefully hopefully impact some people, hopefully inspire people that they can, do better. And then, the other element that will always be out there that you cannot even worry about is the people who will somehow use it against you, in the sense that, either make fun of you or there's always going to be that too. But you know what? There's that in any art form, whether it's,
it doesn't matter.
Your podcast. People can say horrible things about your podcast. Do they matter? Yeah. No, because you're doing what you want to do. But the movies I've been in or made, no, fine. I mean, some are good and some didn't, cut it, but it wasn't from a lack of trying. And that's you get used to that. So it just has to be. It's just like I've been obsessed with it it's consumed my mind for the past 10 years. And so we're there now. We're right there, and it's right there. And it's like, has a publishing house. It has a release year, I'll put it that way, because it's coming out in 2021. Because when they signed on with me, it's sort of like, well, we have the slate for 2020, and it's not a sort of fly-by-night company, so that may sound like a long ways away, but it's actually quite normal.
Well, no, that's not that's not a lot of time. You still have to get it all out there, and then that's. But you wouldn't be where you are if you weren't resilient and strong. I mean, that's who you are. So you got this.
Yeah. Very, very exciting. Yeah, it's really good. It's really hard, but it's really good hard. Like, and you know what I'm talking about. You're a sister on the street.
Yeah,
so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. We don't scare easy.
No. I mean, we could go down, mentally. And when we go down, I speak for myself, it can be really fucking pitch black dark. But that doesn't mean you don't come back up. And if anybody has been completely down and completely back up, I should say. Black up is correct as well. It's that's part of it, and it's almost like a blues singer. If you haven't experienced the pain, then how are you really going to do dark characters or emotional characters or write about it, for that matter?
I mean, that would inform so much of your work, having had those experiences and being able to actually, draw on the horror and the fear and all of that.
And you know what's funny? It's like, what's exactly, speaking to exactly what you just said, that is exactly why in my career it's been more difficult for me to be the victim and scared. Doesn't mean that I can't be scared or I haven't been scared. It means that that has been so kind of denied and not, it's been sort of like, I wouldn't say beaten out of you, but I do mean beaten out of you, both literally and symbolically. So it's more fun for me to be the bad guy. I'm not a bad guy, but I know how they operate, right? We know how they operate. And, just being able to have a cathartic experience of like taking all that out. It's great stuff. I mean, that well is so full of stuff. But the other one is sort of like, I don't relate to it, and it's not from not having been victimized. It's from being like, having to work so hard to get that shit out of your life, and just that way of thinking or that feeling, that to go back to it is very, it's like very alien feeling.
Well, even there's like films with humiliation and torture that are just the whole focus of the story, I can't watch. I just, they're just too painful for me to watch. I mean, I don't mind, big ass, splatter or, but if it's just, like torture porn kind of thing, I can't. It just makes me too uncomfortable.
Yeah, I totally understand. I think like for that, I mean, I do get that way with a lot of like really hardcore rape stuff, although I will watch it and be mesmerized by the ability of the actors. Like if it's really effective, I'll be like, oh my God, are they ever good? Because, it's so difficult. And just, I'm sort of blown away by the performers. It's interesting though, like, I don't know how old you are. That's certainly not a question I would ask you. But for me, I think there's enough decades gone by that more recent stuff is harder. Like since when I had my fingers cut off making a movie, that seeing a knife in a movie, is more difficult for me than the other stuff that you mentioned, but I think that's because of time.
Yeah, it's more recent.
Because the hand, the hand incident was like 2002. The other stuff, we're going back decades before that. So, time kind of does that. It wounds all heal.
Thank God. It does,
yes.
It does, lessen some of the trauma.
Yeah. it does. It really does. That's the good news. The good news. So
we got a little, so we don't have everyone like taking Valium while we're listening and like going into a total depression.
Yes. You mean this hasn't been happy? Oh, damn it. Okay. Go ahead, girl. You tell me what to talk about, and I'll be happy to.
Well, so it's funny. So much of like your career. So there's a lot of like touchstones in your career for like things that I'm interested in. I'm doing. So like I know you worked with Joe Bob Briggs.
Yeah,
right.
I did. Yeah,
right, you were writing for him. Way back. Was it during Monster Vision or?
I'd have to look up. Isn't that horrible? I believe it is. I would have to look up the times of his shows, whether it was the cable channel show, his drive-in show, maybe it was, or was it Monster? Yeah. I could tell you the year. It was 96.
Okay, so
when
it's
I started writing.
That was the later version.
Yeah. I think so. And, that was the second reincarnation of his show. And, I was writing every 2 weeks, had a column come out, and I sort of covered the scene of the indie underground horror scene, what was going on with it and stuff like that. And, that's, I had met him before. That was the first, like, sort of working situation. I've since then done a couple of small movies with him, Rapturous, and I want to say another one. I can't remember off the top of my head. We've always stayed in touch.
Didn't you also get there was some sort of award? Was it the Hubcap Award?
Oh, yes, Abducted 2. Yes. yeah. The Hubcap Award. Yes, I never got it in the mail, however, and he told me not to hold my breath. They're symbolic. They're not real. And so, yeah, it's pretty funny. I would have loved a Hubcap on my wall, I'll tell you. That would be, that would be pretty cool.
I was so happy to see him come back. When I first heard murmurings of that, like immediately I reached out and I, did a mini documentary on him, and he wasn't happy about it, because he doesn't like watching himself, and
hates it, yeah.
It's right, because I had grown up with Joe Bob, like that character, and then like meeting John Bloom and trying to like put those two together in my head, like it was like, but how come you're shy and you don't like seeing yourself? I don't understand. But
right, it's funny. Well, I mean, I can.
We all have personas.
Yes, yes. And I think like possibly like between the persona and his vast knowledge that he just has so much to say, and he is like one of these guys that, he is so prepared. He does so much research. He was almost my co-host on the Fangrrl radio show.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love Dee. I mean, it's just apples and oranges.
Right.
I mean, Dee is
right.
amazing. But I was,
no slam on
I
Dee.
didn't know.
Just love Joe Bob.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing is, it worked out how it was supposed to. It's how I look at most things, or almost everything, really. And at first they didn't know if they were going to be able to get Dee, and SiriusXM really wanted a name, and they, seeing he sort of fell into the music, they could tie him into their station easier.
Sure.
And I brought John Bloom, Joe Bob Briggs, down to the Fangrrl offices, and I was like, I really want to, get you on the show, if this doesn't work out. And so I was talking to him, but I mean, it just worked out the way it did. And, who knows, probably for the best, because it being weekly, even though there was producers, I was a co-producer, but there was other producers who worked very hard on the show. I know John Bloom well enough to tell you that, his work ethic is just insane. It's fantastic. I mean, we all should be working so hard, because, he just, he would need to do his own work on it. Whereas Dee was very fly by the pants kind of guy. He would see the movies, definitely. Read the book, not so much. Maybe first chapter or the inside sleeve, and just do a more of a personal, And maybe people want the personal. You know what I mean? There's always that group of people that just want a personal
it's just a different style
interview
of approach.
Yeah, absolutely. So, they were couldn't be more different. So fascinating. I mean, it was neither was a losing situation. Either one would be a winning one, and so I just got the opportunity to work with Dee, and I'm grateful for that too. But yeah, John Bloom is amazing, and you know what? He's probably just as surprised as the rest of us that this new show came along.
He totally is. Yeah, he totally is.
Yeah.
They did a screening at Nighthawk when Shudder first announced it, and he kept insisting, like, people were like, didn't know who he was, and they were there not for him, and and I'm like, no, like, people love you, and they're so happy you're back, and he's just like, no.
Now he knows, though. I swear to God, now he knows. I just know it. Like, he's back in the swing, because, it was so funny. We had been to a couple of conventions. There were very small conventions, very slow conventions, and we would make all kinds of jokes and take photographs of us with, like, intentionally one thing on the table for the photograph with, like, nobody in eyesight, and we would just look really depressed, and we intentionally take these pictures and just have a blast, and it's almost like I could tell just by talking to him with email that it's just he's got his, like, groove back, and he never lost it, 'cause he's always been a professional writer, but it's just fun to see people appreciate him again, and that is so, I love it. I'm loving it.
Well, it's really nice too, because not only are they, like, loving him, but he's sharing a lot of movies. And for us folks who've loved horror since the 80s, it's like, okay, great, he's showing, Basket Case, a movie I love or whatever. But there are people who are like, I've never seen Basket Case. What is this crazy movie? And you see it, like, on Twitter, people like, oh my God. It's so nice that he's sharing it with a new bunch of people that might not know about it otherwise.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, it's so true, so true. I mean, it's funny because it's going back a ways, and not really all that long, I don't think, but I think social media changed everything, right? So before that, it used to be like groups of us. I'll say us, right? And
Right.
I'll say that we had our numbers, but it was very subculture, and now the volume of people into horror and using it as part of their identity, which is super cool. But just the volume of horror fans, lovers, it's through the roof. It's through the roof. I mean, and it's a weird thing to say because, and I will say this, but it's, I feel I have to say this, and yet it's like, it's going to come off negative, not intentionally though. Keep that in mind. The independent horror used to be like an amazing find, and you felt like, okay, there's this group of people that know what the hell I'm talking about, and they're into it too, and it's amazing, and you would find it and you'd be like, this is amazing, and now it's sort of like, it's more, if you will, mainstream, even though, what you said was correct, that they're finding these movies, but it's no longer sort of, it certainly was never an elite group, but it was more of a geek group. And now it's like just, there's trillions and millions and gazillions of fans, and it's fantastic. But it just, that sort of little group, that feel that you had, it's changed completely. Does that make sense?
Well, no, I totally get that. I mean, but I think we were little groups, but there were a lot of us, but we didn't connect with each other. But now with the internet, we can all. So now it's like this one massive audience, and they still argue and fight about like stupid shit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now people can. But but the thing is too, like, at least, well, not always, but often, it would be in person. So for the most part, not always, people would give each other the respect of listening. That's a sad thing now. Is like people are pretty easy to bag on stuff. But another greatness of Joe Bob Briggs' character bringing these movies is that he has this coolness that if he says this is worth checking out, people will stop, give it a chance, and probably love it. Whereas, if maybe the average Joe Blow who really likes, or Janet Blow, for the sake of including females nowadays,
my new
says,
punk
hey,
name.
check out this movie. It's exactly. It's a good name. It's a really good name. That may not give it the same chance, but who knows? All I'm going to say is, thank God he's back.
Yeah.
I'll cap that whole conversation with that.
I mean, it's really interesting too, because like at the same time, like Fangrrl just came back. So like all these things that I loved in the 80s, that made me the person I am, are now like back, and it's so nice to be talking to Tony Timpone and all these Joe Bob, and it's like suddenly like, yay, we have our community back, and it's it's bigger and it's online, but it's still like everybody's back and making stuff again, which is just great.
Yes, it is. It really is great because these people are important and they shouldn't be forgotten. And I don't believe that they would have been literally forgotten, but I feel so happy that the newer people, or people just discovering the genre and love it, are getting to experience it, and they're sort of getting their let's call it like the Elvis 1968 Comeback. And it sounds really weird, but I mean it in the most loving.
I totally know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
The Comeback special,
and
man.
Joe Bob's even wearing some Vegas styled jackets these days, so it's completely a good analogy.
Oh yeah, I remember, I knew him very well when he was spending time in Vegas, in the 90s and stuff, when he did the movie Casino, and he's really good friends with oh my goodness, I'm gonna forget his name now. That singer.
The guy who wrote the intro, what's his face? Oh my God. Yeah, there is a Vegas guy who wrote the intro to his first drive-in book, and my brain is just, I can't believe I forgot.
You are right. Why are we forgetting? He's very famous, Vegas, standard Vegas. Oh my God, I can even see his face. And somebody listening is going to be freaking out that we can't remember. It's gonna come. It's gonna come.
Yeah, it'll come.
It's just
even somebody even referenced it in the documentary I did. They're like, oh, and this guy did the intro, and what other book would this guy wrote the intro? Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this. This is something. Okay. But yes.
We'll come back to it. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out and revisit that guy. And
but I mean, we one of the things that's really nice about that it's getting more popular is that we are seeing a lot more women making horror films, which I think is great.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's so important. And to get the women's representation in horror.
Yeah, and what they have to say. And, it goes without saying, many people have written about this already, so I'm not, this is not breaking news. But, men or even some women didn't realize that women could also be as, if they liked their horror brutal as the guys, and maybe sometimes even more so, because not unlike the conversation we had a little earlier about what we went through and how we bring it to our art, maybe there's been some real difficult stuff that the women have been through, and they're bringing that to the art, and that can be as disturbing, if you will, or graphic or gory as anything the guys come up with. Two, not better than. Nobody is better than. It's just these are works of art.
I think
we
just want to see the representation. That's all. I mean, it's not a competition.
No, it's not exactly. It's not a competition. And I will say that I've been to the Oldenburg Film Festival for many years, showing movies, and I was part of the few years back, I was part of the first all-female jury, and Mira Sorvino was on it, and a couple other wonderful ladies. And now I'm one of the people sort of behind the scenes a little bit, in the sense that doing the online judging, that when people submit their movies before it goes to the final selection, and then they have the jury that is actually seeing the movies at the film festival. But the first line of juries, if you will, I'm doing that with this film festival. And the reason I bring that up, yes, so awesome. And the reason I bring it up is because 95% of the shorts and feature films I see are directed by women. And I kid you not with the numbers.
Oh, that's
great. I kid you not.
It doesn't surprise me, though.
Yeah.
I think women probably have a real knack for horror,
Yeah.
Because how many, so many women fans of horror. I mean, it's always been a lot of women fans. I don't know why people ever were surprised that women liked horror. It's like, what, are you crazy? Of course we do.
Right. Maybe they were just asking the women who didn't like it, for example. But yeah, it's there's always been a lot of women that loved it, and so
Wayne Newton.
Pardon me? Wow!
Wayne Newton.
Wayne Newton. That's it. Wayne Newton. He's very good friends with Joe Bob Briggs, John Bloom. Yeah, I mean, and you know what? I keep thinking to myself in my mind's eye, even though it's not being shot there, whatever. But every time I think of Vegas now, I think of excuse me. In the modern terms, I think of the Ghost Adventures guys, and that Zach Bagans has his haunted museum out there. So now I've got this obsession to something's got to be going on in Vegas that I can get to, so I can get to that haunted museum. Because
I don't know about that.
I really want to get to that. Oh, I want to get there. Bill Moseley got there with Sid Haig. They were doing something out there, and oh my God, they said it's incredible.
That sounds really cool.
Wait.
So is it they have haunted objects from things? Is that what
Yeah. He bought this haunted building. And I think it's a house. I'm pretty sure. I haven't been there. But it is filled with nothing but completely cursed, haunted, everything in the place, top to bottom, is just stuff you wouldn't want in your house. It's so bad. Yeah, and whoa, I can't wait to see it. So I'm looking forward to something to bring me to Vegas so that I can get there to that put that out there into the universe.
Yeah,
get me to Vegas. To Vegas.
I want to see haunted
so I can get to the haunted museum. Oh, dying to go. But we got on that because of Wayne Newton.
Yeah.
Segue.
Yeah, it's just so there was another connection that I had with another project you worked on that was Mulberry Street, because I'm currently doing a documentary about Joe Lansdale, and Jim Mickle and Nick D'Amici adapted Joe Lansdale's Hap and Leonard for the Sundance TV show.
Yes.
So we have another weird connection there that.
All I can tell you is, I know Jim Mickle more and longer, and I don't really know. I'm gonna. Yeah, the gentleman's name. What's his name again? Yeah, I'm so sorry. He was in the movie. I should know his name.
Yeah.
I don't really know him at all, but Jim Mickle I do, and I can just say that what a great human being Jim Mickle is. I mean, he really, I knew him for a very long time. I did his film thesis short called The Underdogs.
Wow.
And nothing to do with the Lansdale thing that you're doing, but that's how long I've known him, is when he asked if I would be in his, I think it was NYU, thesis film project, or he was, I think that's where he took film, I'm pretty sure, in his short for his thesis, and I did it, and he's such a nice guy, and look at him now. I'm just so proud of him. He's a really good.
He did an amazing job adapting Hap and Leonard, and I know Joe Lansdale's work is not easy to adapt. I mean, Don Coscarelli also adapted it, so you kind of have to be brilliant and crazy.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid of that sort of dense material. You know what I mean? You can't be afraid of that stuff. And he's not. He could do anything. He's a insanely talented guy. He's just, and most important to me is he's also a really great human. And for me, that's
everything, right?
His talent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's high time we start supporting
job.
artists who were decent human beings as well as talented artists, and because you hear about enough people who are assholes.
Yeah, enough of the assholes. There's enough of them. We don't have to even talk about them. They talk about themselves. They talk about themselves. You don't need to talk about them. But people like Jim McLean talks about himself.
So what besides your book right now can we look forward to? What should we be looking for your work right now?
Okay, well that's one of the two biggest things. There's a couple other things I'll mention real quick. The biggest thing is the book From the Underbelly to the Underground is the title. And
Great
it's coming
title.
Out. Yeah, it just fits. And it's, like I say, 2021, so we have time, but just, start getting that out on the radar. It can never hurt.
Sure.
The film Torment Road is in full swing of finishing the financing, so that's got a little bit of ways to go.
That's another one you're directing, right?
Yeah. So
Awesome.
that's got a ways to go, but it's in full, working on it mode. I'm going to be doing another film in a few months from now with the director that I made Bloody Ballet with. This time he's doing a comedy, but his work is very stylized, so I'm very excited about that. His name is Brett Muller, and very happy about that. Right now, I'm just about to go back to, I think we're going to Louisiana. We're doing a whole bunch of different states with this shoot. It's a movie called The Man in Room 6, and it is a really smart, crazy, gruesome film. About 3 months ago, I did a week and a half on it, and in a couple weeks from now, I'm going to be finishing up with a couple more weeks of shooting. They're building the sets now, so The Man in Room 6 will be the next thing I'm physically doing, and a bunch of other stuff. I mean, that, it's still in the process of working out, so you don't always want to mention that in case it doesn't, but there's something that's almost completely, the trigger's almost completely pulled on the sequel to American Nightmare, which is called Lady Misery.
Cool.
So we'll see. That would be super cool. And I should mention that very funny comedy by the name of My Uncle John is a Zombie is just hit VOD, starring John Russo as the Uncle John Zombie. Yeah, he directed it and stars.
Awesome.
He's and let me tell you something. He is hilarious in this movie. Who knew? He should have been in comedy.
I had no idea he could do comedy.
Decades ago. I know. I mean, like, Santa Claus is an unintentional comedy, and it's funny as hell. But it's it's funny, it's campy, it's like that. But shot seriously, this is a comedy, and he is brilliant in it, and I highly recommend it. Like I say, out on VOD just this past Tuesday. DVD, I don't have a release date yet. And then real quick, we have Screech of the, these are all comedies, ironically. Screech of the Decapitated will be coming out later this year on DVD. A movie did
great
actually
titles,
a few years ago. Yeah, another great title, and directed by a woman, Diana Kyle. Yeah, very good friend of mine is putting out this movie, but it had an unofficial release, and this happens with movies quite often. Then they have to take them around until the time is right for that particular type of movie, and so the time is right for this kind of movie, and so it's finally going to come out at some point later this year, early next year. And then Shakespeare Shitstorm, Lloyd's movie.
Oh, yeah. That looks insane.
Yeah, really funny role in that one. Not a cameo, but a really funny role, and that'll be it. And he says,
Trauma.
Yeah, go back to the roots. Exactly. It's sort of like bookends for me. Boom,
yeah,
boom.
like Romeo and Juliet.
Shakespeare.
Yeah,
Shakespeare Shitstorm.
When I shot a tour of Trauma for my YouTube channel, and they had just finished principal shooting on Shakespeare Shitstorm, so he let me come in the editing room and see they were cutting the first scene. God damn, the boy still. I watched the scene and I'm like, holy fuck, this is crazy. And it's like, old man, you sell rock. You were just like completely fearless. Just, right? Just balls to the wall, fearless.
Oh my God, the man is fearless. And I have to say, just as a side note, and I believe he would completely agree with me, he was so comfortable directing in the female clothes that he wore, because he played brother and sister. He was so comfortable. He was actually more comfortable and easier to work with when he was playing the woman. I kid you not. Yet people would agree with me that if you speak to them, like, was he not more comfortable and relaxed when he was dressed as a woman directing? He was, and that's maybe a great topic for another show when you have him on. You know, you could say about
like
that, but
maybe there's like an Ed Wood sort of thing going on.
That's what I'm thinking. So there's that. So that's really cool. And he says 2019, and you know what? The way the editing's going, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, they did a test screening at New Jersey HorrorCon. My Joe Bob doc screen there. Screening there. So I know he was, you know, he's close. So.
Yes. Yeah. So it's going way faster than the last couple of movies. They had their own process, but the process for this one is just far, like, light years faster. Every movie is its own baby, so it's not a judgment. But yeah, this one will be very swift in comparison to, like, some of the projects he's done have taken maybe 4 years to come out after shooting. This one is like, it was intended all along to be, you know, a very quick release compared to his other projects. So that'd be great. That'd be great.
And are you doing any, like, con appearances coming up, or anything more people
Yes, I'm going to be. Oh yeah, thank you so much for asking about that. I'm going to be at Tampa Screams Convention in August.
Okay, cool.
And just, if anybody wants to just Google that, that's in August in, obviously, Tampa. And it's Tampa Screams, really easy to look up and find. And if not, just go to any one of my sites and they'll be posted there.
We'll post all this in show links.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, definitely do that. That would be fantastic. And we're going to show Doom Room. And I'll do a Q&A after that there.
Awesome.
And it'll be really cool. Lloyd's going to be there. Rhonda Shear's going to be there. A lot of really fun kind of 80s vibe.
It should be a really good time.
Yeah, be a really good time. It's not going to be one of these insanely huge conventions, which are also fun, but it's more of an intimate convention. So you're going to have lots of time to spend with all of us there and see the movies
like,
and
the
stuff.
horror community at cons is really amazing. Like, they had at New Jersey HorrorCon, and I remember, like, you know, like the ones in Cherry Hill and stuff too. Like, the actors are just as much fans of the genre as the fans. So,
yes.
You know, that you can just get into these long conversations with, you know, it's not like that wall, like where pop culture, like Comic-Con or something, where it's like the celebrity and the fan are on different sort of levels. In horror fandom, it seems like everyone is just kind of like, hey, let's hang out and talk about whatever movie we like. And
but
that's
the joy of it. Yeah, thank God. I mean, that's the whole thing, especially in the indie world, but you know, even beyond. I mean, that's really what it's all about, because that's what we all have. I mean, we have this in common. Let's, you know, this is our chance to not drive, for those that have family members or spouses, up a wall that aren't into it. You know, now we could just, like, vomit it all out. Just how much we love all this stuff, you know? We could just go ape shit.
People are like, you just start talking about something and people are like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, you lose them quick. But At these cons, it's just designed to be fun for all of us. I mean, that's a good con. You know what I mean? That's a good time.
Yeah, they had karaoke at the New Jersey Horror Con, and like one of my friends, Edward X. Young, you probably know him from the Raid He acts and a bunch of stuff. So he did the Ace of Spades, and John Russo came up and was like, "That was the best song ever." It's like he's a big Lemmy fan.
Yes. See, it's like something like that just breaks the ice. It's amazing. It's amazing. So much fun. So much fun.
It's a good community.
I love it.
I'm really happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, I agree. It's extremely social, and getting, it can also be social on social media, ironically, but even more so in conventions, because you're really with people that they want to be together, they want to be with you. It's an even better experience because you don't get the trolls and such, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, and here's to hoping that we can carry on getting people to go to these shows, because that's the only thing that's going to keep them open. I know it costs money. Money can be really tough for a lot of people, but if you're able to, go to the shows and support them if you can. And same thing with
support
physical
your favorite
publications.
artists,
Yeah, support them, support magazines. I can also write for Videoscope. These are, all physical things that are just, you don't know. You can't be sure that a year from now these things will still be here if we don't support them. So anybody who does, just, thank you. I do too. I do as much as I can as well. But anybody else who happens...
Yeah, they've been doing the signings, I think. They've been doing the signings at Fangrrl at Forbidden Planet, like every 2 months now, the new one. And every time I go, like, they sign, like, Phil Nobel signs on my book, get a subscription. Because I always go to get the book because I didn't have the subscription. I'm like, I need it, and they're like, just get a fucking subscription, Hamsi. It's like, oh,
yes, exactly.
I should, but, yeah.
Yeah, I know. And sometimes people can only get them that way, like one at a time. But either way, it's a fantastic way to support. I know what they're saying, but I also understand the other side too. Oh, I should really, mention the Italian magazine Asylum that I have a column in. It's brand new. It comes out of Italy. The whole magazine now is, because it'll be number 4, is now in both Italian and English, and it is so beautiful. Yeah, like the Italians do everything beautiful. I'm telling you right now, Asylum is like a mind-blowingly awesome horror magazine. Again, go to my sites for the links where to find it. But it's worth supporting because it's too beautiful, and it's in both languages, so you don't have to worry about that. It's too beautiful for it to not continue on. So that's why I want to, I'm trying to get these things in there. It's not for me. It's sort of like to support the great things I know about.
Well, that's awesome, Debbie. Thank you so much for just hanging out with you for an hour and sharing all this stuff. One day we have to actually hang out in person and tell stories. Hopefully I'll see you at a con one of these days. Yeah.
We'll
and if you need any help on any of the films or anything, please let me know. I'd be happy to come and help out.
Perfect. That'd be awesome. Thank you so, so much. And I'll also put it everywhere, and that's great. And I hope to speak to you again really soon. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. It's been awesome. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll speak to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye now.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Grr in Fangrrl. If you enjoyed our show, be sure to visit our website, www.squeeprojects.com, where you can subscribe to the podcast and our YouTube channel for lots more Squee as fuck pop culture content.